right? I'm changing the design. So I change in drawings. What happened to the schedule? All automatic. Why you use CAD and Excel and do it manually? It's just a waste of time. So this scheduling is a very powerful means of extracting the information and form a table-like thing and do the calculations. Okay, so this is the only way. This is just one way. Just schedule it. So we said, okay, this is for QS to take this out. What if I show you? What if I show you 20 years ago? What did I do? I did the GBP submission to BD. What are these? Okay, forget about this overlapping. What are these? What's this? These are 100% Revit. This is scheduling. All the submissions are automatic. Whenever I change the design, this will change the calculation, all automatic. The submission to BD has been automated. We can save 70% of our work. ACS automatic calculation system for GPU submission. It was issued 20 years ago. All the architects in Hong Kong can save 70% of their time. Do you know that it's issued and how many sales? I think my colleagues will do that, right? How many? For the first 10 years, 0. Nobody wanted. They want to draw every single line through the calculation. No sales, nothing, 0. People don't use better ways, so we are the most unproductive industry. Okay, now and then later on, ASC takes it, housing takes it, BD. Okay, now look at BD now. BD, BIM. BIM automated checking tools, area tools. Okay, if you click on this area tools, download the template. So what did BD do? BD employ a consultant to do this, to automate the process. Now become the automated tools for the industry to use. So the BD employ a consultant. This one. My colleague, an architect, Samson Wong. Now he's the same as me as a BIM consultant. So doing a lot of this consultancy. So we did this 20 years ago. And the architects in Hong Kong are still using CAD and draw line by line, doing the calculation Excel manually. And we can save 70% for the last 20 years. And nobody cares. Until now, you see the government actually adopted 2029 mandatory for everyone. See the change that BIM bring to the industry. See how ineffective, how unproductive we are. Okay, technology is here, workflow is here, it's proven. But what is missing? Your change. You change. It's human. All right, people don't want to change. That's all. All right, so now this scheduling is a very important part of the process. Now, having said that, I think you are very bored with what I said. So in order to make it a bit lively, I want you to do a small competition, a game. I will have a game with you. All right. Now, can everyone help me to do one small exercise? Can you open up the MEP model? Okay, go to the sample. Go to our ME and sample project and open that. Okay, everybody. Now let's do a small exercise. Now this project here. Okay, open it up. Now, treat it as a game, treat it as a competition. Now, listen to what I say. You have a model of having a lot of E&M system, MEP system. I want to know, listen, which air duct is the longest? How long is that? Where is that? I want 4 answers. What is the longest air duct? Longest. How long? Where is it? Okay. Now I give you time. Can everyone try and find me these 4 quick answers? The quickest one in my previous lesson is 40 seconds. 40 seconds. Okay. See if you can find it. Which duct is the longest? How long? Where is it? Okay, go ahead. See how long it will take you to find it. Air duct, longest air duct. How long and where is it? How can you find these 4 answers? More than 40 seconds already.最快嗰40秒嗰啲，第二快嘅1分鐘啊！Looking for the length, the duct length. What that? Huh? This rectangular thing is a question. No,幾多？幾多？75係嘛？好，2.71，好喺邊度？喺邊度？呢度都有，係得1/10咩啊？係咪？1/1，1/。Okay, 52.71, 52.71 is the answer is correct. Okay, location level 1 is correct. Okay, it is this one here. This one here. 52.71. Okay, this one's longest. You see this? 52.71. 你係咪揾到呢條先？每一條對下條數，即係 OK。How do you do that？你點做？OK， 感官上望下邊條對牆，跟住撳入去，佢邊度對牆 ？OK， 好啦，咁你用咗分幾鐘啦？用咗分幾鐘？而家 it's only 3 story。What is 30 story? What is 30 story? Now, what our colleagues here describe it, we look at it visually and then click on it and verify it. What are we doing here? We are using model. Your mindset is using model. You are not using information. So it is easy to find in 1 minute because it's only 3 stories. You can visually consider this long. What if a big project, a 30 story, it's not that easy for you to look for it visually. It is very hard. Okay? A clever, a better way, we see the issue in information. How? Only one method, schedule. So the simple way is actually you create a schedule. What schedule? Duct schedule. So for duct, do you see the duct? You create duct schedule. So what do you need? Okay, maybe family and type. What sort of duct is that is? And then length. And then length, that's it. And then okay, in 1 second, you have all the length in here. But I want to say, what is the longest? How to say longest? How to work longest? So you sort it out. So by length, descending order. And in 1 second, eternally. That's it. So that's the answer. So it's a duct, it's the longest duct, and it's this value. So we can do it in 3-4 seconds. Okay, where is it? Yes, you click on the longest one and highlight in model. Click on this. There you go. You highlight it in here. So you can do it in 4 or 5 seconds. You think in information. We don't think in model. So this exercise just want to make you aware. So you are looking at, if you look at it by eye, you are looking by luck. You are not doing it systematically. And you're wasting time to look for it. And you see these three are very much alike. How do you know which one is longer? You click on it and then you draw down the number? Or you remember, if you have 30 story, 50 story, you forget. You forget which is longer, right? They look pretty much the same length. So it is not systematic. So information is the key. So the value of BIM is information. All right. So now you can see that this model got a lot of information that you can make use of. So basically, all the work that we do, whether you are a designer, whether you're a contractor, whether you're a BD, everybody in the industry uses information. But we just get used to using visual, use graphic, plan. This is a model. We don't think in information. All right. So you can now you can see that the importance of making information. So that's why information model is not geometry model. Now, if you accept this, then you step back. You step one step back. Who input the information? Who input the information? If he input it wrong, then you got the wrong answer. So if you're the main con, you are assigning one company who take care of architectural, landscape, structure, MEP, gas, water, everything. You expect him to be the Superman? He can do every single object, every single discipline correctly? If not, then all the information you got will be wrong. And this is contractual, and you're in trouble. Now, if you look at this, duct, what information is there? Okay, you have the position center, you have the dimension information, the size. Okay, what system? Now, at the moment, it's not defined, undefined. Whether it's return air or supply air. Okay, now you can define this, but this one hasn't been defined yet, so it's not very good. It should be defined up. Okay. Now, but if you further look at it, I know what equivalent diameter means. Loss coefficient, I kind of know what that is. Do you know? Loss coefficient. So the amount of loss, airflow loss, because of friction. So I kind of know that what that is. Airflow, liter per second. Flow, what is additional flow and what's flow? Hydraulic diameter, roughness. Okay, I think I know what that English means, but technically, what does it mean? Reynolds number, what does it mean? I don't know. Do you know? Who knows? So what are these? These are professional information. Why is a BIM is for modular or BIM for professional? If I don't understand, you don't understand, somebody put the wrong data there, something got wrong results. BIM is for professional. It is not for a BIM consultant who only know how to build a geometry. BIM is for the information for the professional to input there. Last time I mentioned no trunking, and people use duct to pretend to be trunking. So you got a trunking with Reynolds number. What does it mean? What does it mean? It looks like in geometry, all the information are wrong. So the trunking is for the circuitry, right? So where is the circuitry? No. So you're missing information. So you can see how people look at BIM right now is very superficial. They only look at it as a making a geometry. It looks like a building. This is wrong attitude. BIM is about information. Okay, think about this. Now you're going to be a BIM manager soon. So how are you control your project? Are you directing the project to be a geometry or information? I know that, okay, your company working a different way. You have a separate team doing the BIM, but you have a team doing the project and the produce drawing. So the drawing and the BIM is kind of separate thing. Is it the right way? Right. So one day, I mean, the DW got rejected, and then what? All right. Now you can see these are the characteristics. So number 9, scheduling of information. All right. So this is a very important concept. Single source of truth. You put information there. Information model is of the model, and then you can schedule it out as a for whatever use. So scheduling of information. Doesn't matter whether you're using Revit or ArchiCAD or Ranga, they work the same. Okay, it's an information is more important. So that's why I don't think Rhino alone or 3D Max is a BIM. It got no information there. It's only got geometry there. So that's not BIM. It's 3D software. All right. Okay. Now I just stop here for a break. All right. Break.
我哋係即係都係嘢係落翻 straight， 唔可以 schedule。
我絕對明你點樣咁問，亦都明你講緊乜嘢。但係你嘗試去，你諗下，當你咁樣講嘅時候咧，你有咗一個 perception 係有張圖，有 diagram 係加咗啲字，跟住入邊有啲咩 material 邊一層嗰個方式。呢個方式係某人唔知邊個好叻嘅人幾十種呢個方法，冇邊嘅時候，係咪一定要咁決咧？
所以如果用 P 嘅話，其實好似可以 schedule 整個 diagram，佢會 sorting 晒所有嘅樣出嚟。嗰
個唔係咁樣嘅，我 show 俾你睇個結果。呢度有一個MIC 啦，一樣嘅啫。OK， 呢個就係你想要個樣，下面冇嘢嘅，或者唔係冇嘢，或者有少少嘢，我俾你睇少少嘢咩 ？OK， 嗱，你睇呢個樣，你而家睇得明啦。呢個樣咪喺個 model 嘅其中一嚿嘢出嚟個 elevation 咯。咁我咪喺度，即係我 show 緊嗰一個 elevation，咁咪幫佢再加強呢條加呢個。好啦，下面冇嘢嘅，得一樣嘢，有個曲，叫做 WIT002啊。咁 R 就係左右，OK。咁隔離嗰隻叫003嘅。好啦，咁呢度有個少少嘅 description， 叫咩 material？呢度冇講到係邊一棟樓、邊層樓、邊個 elevation unit 冇嘅。點解啊？因為你咁樣做唔 efficient 咯。點解我唔係我喺個我一個 schedule？咁呢個咪 rapid schedule，我可以 schedule 咗佢係邊層樓、邊個 unit、邊間房嘅邊一張 type。咁呢個 type 咪揾翻嗰張嘢。咁咪兩張睇一齊睇。點解我哋要擺埋一齊啊？因為某人話俾你聽咁做啫嘛。佢唔係用邊個思維去做㗎，佢中意點畫就點畫㗎嘛。
即係而家其實即係 BD 嗰個
好講 BD 唔會講多 schedule Windows schedule 呢啲 tender 嚟 BD 冇講我嘅方法，我教 ID 方法。
但係呢個 tender 方法係 apply 即係所有人都會。
個 point 等先 tender 同咩嘅先 ？tender 係要俾人清楚個 scope 報價價錢。個 format 係點嘅樣？係咪真係一定要咁樣先？睇唔睇？冇相得㗎，你睇得明先，你睇得明啊？你睇得明有幾多個喺邊度？啲嘢叫 relate。喂，佢要報價，佢要各種嚟嘅資料有晒嘅喎，只不過樣唔係你先睇個樣啊嘛。Why not？即係點解要班大嗰個 concept 咧？
咁但係頭先你sorry 咁其實都係喺個點講咧？咁但係你點樣 gen 呢個出嚟？純粹係 reference。reference 畫咗個 select 咗 Windows 先。同埋下邊嗰個 description 你都係用 schedule 嘅方法去做出嚟嘅，定還是？
嗰個叫做 U legend。有嘢叫做全係 legend U plan U 全。 annotate legend legend 咁係啦 ，OK，睇住，嗱 annotate 喺個 legend view 裏邊，呢個係 legend view 嚟嘅，legend view 裏邊嘅 component 嘅 legend component， 好啦，咁而家我揀咩咧？好啦，門嘅 floor plan 嘅 elevation， 見唔見到？
呢個 legend 係喺
兩樣嘢。
咁樣
第一，你要 create 個 view 先，個 view 叫 legend view，which is 咧喺呢度呢個 legend view。咁 legend view 有咩 content 咧 ？content 咧就係 under 呢個 annotate component 裏邊嘅 legend component。legend component 裏邊咧，入邊呢個 component 裏邊有好多唔同 component。component 即係咩咧？就係你個 project 用過嘅 family。咁你有多 family， 有 Windows， 有 family。好啦，咁你要多有咪多啊 family， 咁多隻 type 就你入邊用咗呢個嘅就係 叫呢個 elevation view 定咩 view 咯？即係呢 plan view 或者 elevation view。係咁。
咁但係之後你下面咪有個 schedule 嘅就有表噶嘛？嗰個表你就喺 schedule 度擺翻去張圖紙入邊，係咪咁嘅意思？
係梗係啦 ，yes。係。
咁即係喺圖你而家呢個 legend 呢啲你嘅 tag annotation 全部都係圖紙度睇嘅。
係 ，yes，喺圖紙睇嘅。咁
都係睇。
冇啊！呢個就係呢個咪個 type
嚟噶嘛？
唔係
family
type 係啦 ，family type。
但係你呢個 tag 已經係喺個 scheduling 度做出 scheduling suppose 出唔係應該係
呢個係個 tag 嚟嘅，係個 tag。咁 tag 翻，即係呢個係一個，我唔係 schedule， 呢度唔係個 schedule 做嘅，呢係個 tag 嗰度做嘅。
即係我意思係話呢一紮嘅 information 都唔係喺 schedule 度做出嚟，定還是係下邊呢個係 schedule 做出嚟，但係呢個 tag 就
唔係你個諗法唔啱。schedule 係個 result 嚟嘅 ，schedule coming from 個 model。model schedule 呢一個咧係 model tag。唔係 schedule。首先所有嘢係 model 先。model 可以出 schedule。呢個唔係 schedule。呢個係 model 出嘅 tag。記住 tag， 即係。
我意思你如果我排翻呢張嘅 drawing 出嚟啦，即係我要排翻呢張嘅
係
有埋 title block 嘅 drawing 嘅。咁我第一個 step 就係要喺 title block 嗰度整一個樣先啦，跟住就將個 legend 佢打入去，跟住然後啲 information 咧，我係下邊呢個咧就呢個 tag 咧係我要自己再
tag 翻個 object
翻個 object 佢就照擺入嚟咁樣。即係啲表係
靚仔你一喐嘅啫，個 tag 係一個呢度係一個 tag 嚟嘅，咁你喐翻呢個位置咯 ，move 佢呢個位置。但係
呢個 tag 我係喺個 information 度，即係 BIM 嗰度 tag
個 model 嘅 tag。你知咩叫 tag 啊？
係啊 ，tag suppose 你應該係 tag 到門有個 object 喺度先，佢先會有個 tag。
係咯。
但係你頭先嗰個表係冇個 object 喺度噶嘛？
明。
咁所以我唔知你呢個表其實係點，即係我想有效地整個表出嚟，係應該點樣做咧？定還是其實嗰個 tag 唔一定要擺個表度，我直接擺到個 object 度得咯？
但係呢個唔係 object 嚟嘅，呢個係個 legend。呢個唔係 object，呢個係個 legend component。
但係個 legend component 係唔可以 tag 任何嘢嘅。
睇下先 ，tag 啲咩？我唔係好記得個點成嘅。呢個係唔可以 tag。係啦，呢個咧，呢嚿嘢係 legend component。legend component 咧，佢個 N 問題啊，得唔得？嗰個點整出嚟嘅咧？
定其實嗰個係用手整出嚟？
唔會，我唔贊成用手嘅。我知點。我哋有個墓碑圖，我哋整一個墓，即係咧，係個墓碑圖咧。係啦 ，OK。嗱，我哋咧其實咧 係將所有佢用嗰啲嘢咧，係擺咗一個 file 度咧，個 file 係有晒呢啲咁嘅 type 拍晒出嚟嘅，唔係喺個 project 度走出嚟，係將用咗嗰啲咧係
即係自己整個 family 嘅。
嗰一張圖係啦，喺呢度就整擺晒唔同嘅 type 喺呢度，係啦。咁然之後叫4張嘅，咁所以我出到呢一個。咁因為我呢度有 object 嘅，所以可以 tag 到佢，即係出呢度咯。呢個咧就有個 project 度走出嚟。
係，我想問句，你頭先話即係我
呢個新 file，
呢個新 file 咧只有啲window 喺入邊嘅啫。咁然後咧
由呢度就出呢張。
咁但係呢一張，我想問呢個 tag 係 based on
呢個 object。我睇到
佢唔係用 legend 嗰個 sheet 去做出嚟㗎。
呢個係 legend。
哦。
呢個係 tag。
咁但係我意思係呢個 tag 係喺個
但係呢張 sheet 嚟㗎嘛，張 sheet 係 combine 咗個 legend 同埋個 tag。
係，所以我唔就話，如果喺張 sheet 度，如果你要整個 tag 出嚟，你就咁直接喺個 tag 度擺入去咁樣，即係撳 tag 拉個 tag 出嚟擺。
係，應該係 yes， 應該係咁做。係啦，我哋唔會用 tag 去做嘅，因為我一轉嘅時候，佢會轉晒 tag 需要人手去做。呢啲一定係 tag 嚟嘅呢個。咁呢張就係 project 嚟嘅。
但係如果佢要，我想問你特登開個新 file 整呢個 Windows schedule 嘅原因係因為你為咗整個 tag 出嚟，即係最個 purpose 係唔需要自己用手動 tag 嘅，係咪？唔係，你個問題係我可唔可以喺個 project 度整呢樣嘢？就係因為咧個 project， 因為有兩個原因嘅。第一個 project 嗰棟樓咧有四個邊咁樣，咁你呢個梯同呢個梯翻嚟邊嘅，咁咪要追住佢好煩咯。即係要追住佢出嗰個，可能會一個 elevation 或者咩。第二咧就係佢有機會佢你電生會轉㗎嘛，走㗎嘛。如果走咗嘅時候咁咪又對唔齊啲位。咁所以我咪整咗咁嘅嘢喺度，咁佢又唔會走位。最主要呢個。不過又唔使我用 legend BIM， 如果 legend 可能唔關佢事，太耐唔記得咗啦。都不外乎得呢幾個方向嘅，係啦，一定係啦。我自己做呢咁嘅墓碑，一塊塊掟晒墓碑喺度，咁一埲牆黐晒啲人用唔到嘅，就係佢要出，就係佢要出呢個張。出咗呢張就呢個圖，因為我呢張有呢一個 number 喺度，咁而呢個 number 你黐住個 object，呢個 object 用喺 project，咁所以 project 走翻出嚟嘅時候咧，咁所以一定係即係一定啱咯。但我有個問題就係點解個 legend supposing 上去 suppose 呢嚿嘢係一個 legend 嚟嘅，個 legend 入邊就係其實佢嗰陣時 input 數其實邊一個 window type 係啲乜嘢？係。咁點解佢唔會自己 gen 到個 window type 出嚟？即係點樣 legend 呢個佢自己 record 佢冇整嘅，佢冇，即係佢全部由 model 行先嘅，咁 model 出 legend 係一步，model 出 tag 係第二步，咁佢就唔會由個 legend， 如果有 legend 出個 tag 佢一定係同個 model。即係你意思個 tag 嘅個 tag 一定係 tag 個 model。哦，即係唔可以。唔可以 tag 個 legend。哦。咁所以即係。其實嗰啲細節咧，你實會 out 嘅。我想講個 point 就係最緊要嗰樣嘢，你唔好翻埋以前嗰個方法。即係嗰個方法都係人諗出嚟啫嘛。嗰個係冇一個咁嘅工具，係嗰個方法。咁我個目的，我出聽打去入職或者咩個目的，我要清楚嗰啲嘅 information。我唔係包埋嗰個 document。你夠膽一定要夠膽做呢一步。但係應該唔係間職能都會。梗係啦。係，唔係間職能冇辦法。所以 BD 我成日即係我入職嘅時候 challenge 即係點解用舊嘅方法去做咧？我唔用新嘅方法去做咧。個樣會首先唔同，有啲唔同嘅字都我就 show 俾你。我哋即係你有冇見過？我俾個 A&A GBP 入職度 A&A 呢個冇問題啊！呢啲計數呢啲見慣啦，呢啲見慣啦，全部邊嚟嘅，全部都係。好啦。既然我已經分到晒呢啲咁嘅顏色啊，呢啲係頭先我 show 俾你睇 graphic 嗰個部分。點解我入職圖全部用 BIM 做？點解我唔可以用？點解唔可以咁用？消防唔係啊，加除我入俾 BD 咁樣入。
我唔係話佢要嗰啲 format 冇我有，我有之餘，因為我已經係由邊個出嚟嘅，點解我唔可以夾啲咁樣更加清楚？呢個 discharge 唔同顏色就唔同嘅，就 compartment。跟住你見唔見到咧？佢越粗咧就代表咧越多人，呢啲人數係比例嘅 in ratio。咁跟住咧呢啲全部係 tag 嚟嘅，呢啲全部 information，呢啲唔係 text 嚟嘅。咁跟住由點樣由呢一層落到去嗰啲人數點樣增加由80幾人去150幾人，再落下點500幾人，就係嗰個 discharge stable 嚟嘅。我 visually 係 show 到佢嗰條邊條花係幾多人，我清楚過佢多聲。我啲 information 我冇仲要佢要個表，我要俾翻佢㗎。
即係其實你只係多咗表，
係啦，
清晰啲嘛。
係啦，
佢邊啲係接受嘅？
要傾咯，傾咯。
佢而家即係因為呢邊 project 係2017年，唔係2019年，所以就要傾。但係其實而家已經接受
都好難咁講嘅，即係睇個郵件睇個 PS。
但係你可以唔俾呢兩張圖，即係你一輪俾跟住咪接少。
係
OK 咁。
係，所以中意突破下，係啊呢個話，我咁又俾你即係我啲嘢冇錯，即係個 principle 又好，計數又好冇錯，但係佢個 format 佢以前開咗，係咪一定要咁嘅 format 先？
係啊，
係咯。
Thank you。
好死啊！
你接 project
我知啊，
唔知而家3個字
嚇，
你整個 CEO。
不是，走，看见。对啊，是啊，对，用这个 API。
那现在这个所对程度，就是因为差的高度，它大概差就是2米，那个那个差距。因为现在
没，这个高度是它没有很多，它这很多是关于然后这个呢，这是现场这个所谓，当然你上次的现场所谓，它没有这个信息的，所以我说不用管它的。
在现场随着说他们请认证高度，
对啊，
对，我们最后做 photography 出来的，它那个高度其实也没办法调整，就除非我识别出去。
是啊，这是另外一个难度，这个文字就是它的 calibration， 知道吗？
就是我们已经对政府这个地方，对政府给的这个地方转换这种产品单方面
当然，这个不是团队，其实这个是我对产品的当时
但是它这个就是这个就是用这个直接转换。但是
这个结果它高度是
没有，它这里会写，就是在这里面是否接受对方去发光 HQ 的视频，就是它会有标准的，有些会接受它，有些不接受。
对，不用管这个，你一定是那个现场人或这个对啊，不用管这个，这是 GIS 里头的，它因为这个球是圆的，然后就把它压扁的时候，它一个调整，这个不用管这个。是啊，你不用管这个东西的。
其实我们想跟这样结合，不是就尝试这样解释，让他们接受。谢谢你。
OK，好。 好啦，嗱，咁我哋講咗咁多呢啲 beam 嘅 characteristics 咧。sorry, we're talking about so many beam characteristics. So it applies to every different beam softwares. All right, this is a common thing. All right, now so these are important concepts that you as a beam manager need to grasp, because these are related. These are related to the next topics in terms of beam use. Now, you can see that in technical circular. I told you that in lesson 3, core competence 3, we are talking about this beam use. So we will be basically talking about these 20 of them. So these are the application. These are applications, but the technicality behind it, it is something that I just telling you on the beam software and also the technology. Now, say I just mentioned about the scheduling. There's a core for the course installation in here. Space programming, for example, space programming talking about the area. So this is the area. It is on how we use the area plan and also the room. So all these applications, they need to base on the technological side, okay, which is how the software behave and how other technologies support all these applications. All right, now I think I just stop at the characteristics for the time being. Now I move on to the second part, which is on the technology side. And again, if you put this technology into the context, now these are the context, how technology is being used. Okay, now the way we look at it, if I call upon the this one here. Okay, now if we look at the technology, the second part. Okay, so we will be talking about 14. Okay, 14 technology here, 13, and then here 14. So how these technology can apply into different contexts. So say for example, if I jot this out. Hey, where is it? Okay, now if you look at it this way, okay, the way we understand this, okay, now let's say we need to do something called 3D control and planning. 3D control and planning, which is mandatory. This is how we use BIM in construction. But what does it mean? What is 3D control? Okay, what does it mean? Now, this is the way we use BIM, but the technology is actually in here. All right, so let's talk about robotics. So this is how the robotics is being used in this area. Okay, and then also the programming. Some of the automation applied in here. And for example, the 4D modeling in here. Gaming. Okay, maybe programming here as well. All right, so we actually, this does not stand alone as a technology. You need to, how do you apply this technology in the use of the BIM? Now, as I told you last time, this list is going to change next year. Say for example, they add in the AI. How do they use AI in here? Okay, what is AI and how do you use AI in that. But nevertheless, so we need to look at it this way. Okay. Now, say for example, the design review. So what is design review? Use BIM for design review. What do we mean by that? And then we are talking about internet. So the internet and cloud is actually doing this. All right. So I just give you a background how we relate it to this is core the second core competency. This is the third core competency. All right. Now let's look at it from start. Or probably I can cover this as well. Okay, before I talk about this, I just talk about on this one. All right, now if you look at BIM software, now obviously this is Revit. This is the architectural model. We look at the structural model, we look at the MEP model. So those are the different people working on the same project using the same platform. Okay. What if they are not using the same platform? What will happen? So if if I ask you now, if you look at this model here, so building is done by Revit. What about the trees? What about the road? What about the landscape, the terrain? I tell you what, people use Revit to build the terrain, to build a road. It is horrible. It's terrible. I once worked on a project. And the building is fine, but all of the four sides, they have different. It's not flat. They all have different slope on the four sides, and they're not single slope. They are very complicated terrain. Okay. Then we use Revit. I spend months to model it. It's terrible because Revit is not meant to do this kind of thing. Okay. You know what is good at doing this terrain? No, terrain, the modeling. GIS is more, I'm talking about modeling. GIS is platform that combine everything. So what modeling tools you use to terrain? Silver 3D. Silver 3D is good at doing this. Why? Because the road is not flat. Of course, elevation is up and down, but on this little section here, the road is not flat. It's doing slightly curve at sides because the rainwater will fall down to the gully. All right, now you guys know about that, right? All right, so Revit cannot do that. Okay, so Revit is not a good tool to do the site and the terrain. Landscape, you see the trees? That's quite terrible. It's quite terrible. Now, what software do you use to do the landscaping? Do you know? Okay, CS Artisan. Okay, you can see that. Okay, this CS Artisan. It's actually a plug-in software to add to Revit. So use Revit alone, it is not good enough. So why? Because things like this. So if you want to do this hatch, they're all the same height, same type, but along the terrain. Using Revit to build one by one, it is no good. It's very hard to do it. So they use this is add-in called CS Artisan. This is something I teach in ASD for the landscape architect. I teach them how to use that. This one here. Then even though it's still Revit, it's the add-on that make them easier to do this kind of thing. All right, CS Artisan. Now, That means we will end up with a lot of different softwares. So to an extreme, so you can imagine I have one project with government. So it's one ASD project. Okay. What they ask for, architecture, they use ArchiCAD. They need to use ArchiCAD. Structure, they use Tekla. MEP, use Revit. Landscape, using Revit, CS Artisan. Okay, CDE, Trimble Connect. Okay, structure, civil. Okay, civil 3D. This is one project in the design. Okay, think about this. Now, this is an example. It is a very extreme case. So if everything is like this, and this is level what? Level 2 BIM. They do not talk. How can we work? How can we work as one project? So, okay, you can see the difficulties. Now, as a BIM manager, okay, now the client asks you, okay, this is how I want. This is how I want. So how can you handle this? Not everyone using Revit. So inevitably, you have no choice, but you come to the concept of open BIM. Small letter open and then big letter BIM. Okay, you see this concept open BIM. The key word, it is called the interoperability. Interoperability. How can we talk in the data? Interoperability. So they don't talk to each other. So we need now there are two levels of interoperability. One is on the geometry. One is on the data, on the non-geometry. Okay. Now you know that BIM has geometry and information. Information, non-geometry information. So these two levels, how can we talk in here? How can we talk here? All right, yeah, you guys know about. So the answer is the answer at the moment is called we use this open BIM. So okay, now if you're not familiar with this, let me quote you an example. In the year of my graduation, I graduated in 1992. All right, I graduated in 92. When I start working, this is a time where our industry started using CAD. So when they use CAD, there were two camps. One is AutoCAD. The other camp is MicroStation. Okay. So in the industry, CAD is the general name. This is a brand name. So there are two companies doing very good in CAD. Okay, in the 1990s, they cannot talk. So AutoCAD cannot talk to MicroStation. MicroStation cannot talk to CAD. So what was the answer? Do you know? So they create a format called DXF, Data Exchange Format. Okay, now from AutoCAD, they export to DXF and then import to MicroStation. Okay, or vice versa, and it comes back like that. So they are having a middle format. So they cannot directly talk to each other. they use DXF, data exchange format, to communicate. Okay, you can still see the DXF right now. If you go to my, AutoCAD, you save as, you can still use DXF. Okay, now, but now, after 20 years, they can talk directly. So you can use MicroStation to open a AutoCAD file and vice versa. Now there's no need to use DXF. All right. But in the CAD area, it's simple because there's not much information inside CAD. Only the color, line weight, line type, and length. That's it. So it's easy for translation. But in BIM, it's different. BIM is very complicated. So at the moment, we still cannot have direct communication. So what that means is, so now, for example, Revit, now you can do is we export to a format, open BIM format. So at the moment, IFC format, and then to another software like ArchiCAD. Okay, or vice versa, coming back like this. All right, so you have this middle format called well, at the moment IFC. Now that's why last time you heard about the lens department. They talk about this native BIM and open format, level 2 and level 3. Okay, so level IFC is one format of level 3. So CTGML is another format, which is also open format. Now, this concept of open BIM, if you go back to the technical circular, okay, what is the policy? So the policy is now required. Now, BIM model in open BIM format for asset management should be prepared. So BIM model in open for asset management is what? It is the time where contractor hand over the BIM model to the operator. So you need to give them a BIM model in open BIM format. So asset management, all right, the operation. So he's talking about the contractor deliver back to the operation in open BIM format. And also, WD Works department should consider to use. Okay, they should use open BIM approach in project collaboration, except individual circumstances. Now, that means only with exception, you have to use open BIM. So this is exactly the project I just told you. So they have different format of BIM software. Project collaboration is talking about different people. So different people can use different software, and then the project collaborate using open BIM. Now this is another policy. Get that? WD should, according priority to consider to adopt open BIM in different project stages. So in under software, so open BIM is a priority. So that means they do not promote just one platform. They promote different platforms. Okay. Now, as a BIM manager, now this is a really difficult situation. If you have different stakeholders that are using different platforms, how can you make them talk to each other? It's a difficult task. All right. Now I tell you what. For this project, yes, we use this. Now look at this. What do we use this for? They produce architecture, produce statutory drawings. They produce tender drawings. Structural engineer, they produce statutory drawings. They produce tender drawings. MEP, they do not need to produce statutory drawings, they produce tender drawings. Landscape, tender drawings. All right, QS. Okay, now another difficulties. Another difficulties. Now this is what I have experienced. This is the real situation. So the architect use architect to produce GBP. Use architect to produce structural submission, audit submission, right? Sorry, TECTA. Tender drawing, they produce different architectural tender drawings, structural tender drawing, MEP tender drawing, another platform. QS, they need to measure this, they need to measure this, and they need to do this. That's difficult for the QS. So the QS need to know 3 different softwares to schedule. You see that? The one you just learned scheduling is from Revit. But what about ArchiCAD? How you schedule from Revit from ArchiCAD? How can you schedule from TECTA? They have this kind of concept they have, but you need to know, you need to learn. So the QS need to know all this. All right. Now, and then we actually produce this tender drawing. Now, you guys as a contractor, you get a tender drawing. But at the same time, you get this. So, and also you got a spec, right? Now, I was the BIM manager. I was the BIM manager who helped them to write the spec. And I asked very important question. The question is, how do we want a contractor to work? Now, you as a contractor, I give you all this in PDF. I give you all this in native and IFC. So what do I expect you to do? Would the client expect you to do in 4 systems or 1? Think about this. Now the design team is using 4 different systems. So to the contractor, if I write on the spec, contractor need to do this. So all the tenderer, all the contractor need to have these kind of people. Do you guys have these kind of specialists in Hong Kong? So we dare not to write down on the spec, as I said. So what's the end? At the end, the contractor who run this project, what will you do? You deal in Revit. And then what about the AI? What about the changes? So there were changes in here. So consultant is still using this. Consultant will not use Revit. These guys will not change Revit, will not. So in the AI, the variations and the further instruction, and the changes still in this. So you can imagine if you're the contractor using Revit, and then you'll get the instruction in ArchiCAD. Then how are you going to deal with that? No, this is BIM manager's fault. You as a BIM manager, you need to deal with this situation. Even though you are not using this to produce, but you got instruction, you got further model, further information from during the course of construction. 明唔明先？你係會真係見到呢咁嘅 situation。Now this is what the BIM manager will face, and it's not easy. And then if you think further, after the construction, what will the client have it back? Because the construction is converted in the Revit, so at the end it will be Revit. But then it's not open BIM. So you can see that open BIM is only at the start at the moment. So it starts in the design, but it's not been considered how the workflow is actually going to be run through the next step. So even though open BIM has been around for more than 30 years for open BIM, this concept is still in its early adoption stage, at least in Hong Kong. Very, very early stage. Because people, we have not think through the whole process. How can we deal with that, this kind of situation? 得唔得？明唔明啊？ open BIM is part of your scope. It's part of your understanding. You need to understand that. But at the moment, it's quite difficult to deal with. At the moment, because it's not only technical side, but also your contractual side, the liability side, the workflow, all these kind of things. All right. So if you are the contractor, how do you handle this? 你知道我講咩？唔會做 AI 就俾 architect 你 ，EMA 俾 rapid 你 ，Landscape 嗰啲 AI 俾 architect 你攬住一堆嘢咁樣。唔係呢啲啊，你嘅要有個 model， 你要嗰翻要行過咯，要 work 咯，係啦，係啊，要時間你呢度我哋。再解決問題，佢冇得解決㗎。佢 open BIM 係個 common 嘅，冇得解決關係。係。So that's why the open BIM is to facilitate you look at it, but it cannot be changed. Open BIM cannot be changed. So that's all of it. You need one common method to at least view it, and comment on it, and collaborate, and coordinate, right? And that's one type of. Cannot change. If there's some change, yeah, you want some changes, you want to shift the door, you cannot use open BIM. You have to go back. It is quite complicated. Yeah, I have to say it's quite complicated. Yeah, but you can see that now is a policy. It's a policy here. It's facilitating using open BIM. Okay, so our first core competency, right? First competency, open BIM is also one of the policies. If we look at from the contract point of view, I think I showed you last time. From the contract point of view, you can see that. Now the contractor shall submit the format the contractors use. You produce BIM model. You use native and editable. If you use Revit and you submit Revit. At the same time, you need to produce IFC, open BIM format, two formats. So if you use Architect, fine, Architect plus IFC. Tekla plus IFC. Okay, but it did not address. Now the consultant use open BIM. You are not open BIM, then this is this is an issue. And then later on, how the contractor give back to the operator. So think about this. If you are the contractor, you keep on using 4 different systems. Tekla, Architect, and then you go back to the operator. But operator 仲大鑊。operator 收到成手都係 different， OK 有同字有萬字咁樣，或者成手都係唔同嘅章法。Then one project will have all the different formats. Okay, next one. When you have now a built building, what about A&A? 10 years later, what kind of information, what kind of format do you give to the next designer? You give them Revit plus Tekla plus Architect. 咪就係咁咯，你堆嘢，好似堆嘢就係咁咯。嗱，要收唔知咩個標啊？改唔到啦嘛。要唔知個標啊？個 collaboration 啊嘛，抵嘅啫嘛。No. What 個定位啊 ，now open BIM is actually for coordination only for at the for coordination. It's not for production drawings, not for changing. Okay. All right, but the thing is, this kind of called interoperability. Now, if you look at the Revit, so just a few technicality on this. So if this Revit, all this kind of thing is called the if you export to IFC, okay, you export to IFC. Now, you can see the modified setup. Say, see, even in IFC, they have different versions. 2 times 3, 2 times 2, 4, 4 times 3, now even 5, the different version. Now, their versioning is different to Revit version. Their versioning only means they include more and more objects. So 2 times 3, they are putting on buildings. They do not have roads, railway. 4.3 have 4 have civil. 4.3 have rail. So railway objects. So, but the building object is still the same. Okay. So, but even if you export this out, let's say, okay, I want you just to take a look on the definition. Now, I just click on a door. Now, when I say interoperability, what does it mean? Now, a door, as I said, they have information, and the information have definitions. So that door has a height, this one here, has a width like this. Now, this word, height, width, thickness, these words are the word used by Revit. What about how do they describe the width in ArchiCAD? How do they describe it in Tekla? They may use a different word. So this is called thickness. What about if ArchiCAD use door thickness? Then you have 2 different names. Then you cannot talk. Okay, so that's why different software they're using different names. So that's why they cannot talk because of these kind of thing naming. So what IFC does, they have a standard. Okay, now what does it mean? Now if I look at this, if you go to the IFC define type, okay, I click on this. Now you can see that these names, IFC door, IFC railing. Now these are internationally defined names. If Revit can convert into this name, ArchiCAD convert to this name, Tekla convert to this name, so that becomes a standard. So it doesn't matter what you call it in your native software, as long as you convert into a commonly named system, then they can share. So this is the idea of IFC, open standard. All right. So somebody building smart actually define how this should be called international. Okay. Now to be more specific, the naming is one of the items. BSDD, Building Smart Data Dictionary. Now, okay, so BSDD. So what is a door? A door, we have thickness, we have vision panel with all this kind of thing. Okay, what if I type in door? So how is a door defined in OpenBIM? So I search for door. Okay, see door, property set. Click on the property set, properties. You see that? Acoustic rating, durability rating, fire exit, fire rating, place area. Right. Now these are the IFC names. Revit use a different name. AutoCAD uses a different name, so that's why they don't talk. What if both convert to the same name? Then they have the same meaning. So this is called BSCD, data dictionary. It is for us to, so somebody define millions and millions of these definitions, and then different software convert to this data dictionary. Then they know, then they have the same meaning. 2 weeks ago, BD was here. The assistant director was sitting in here, and he said BD is going to use a lot BSCD to define the names. All the submissions. That means this thing here, this automated was based on Revit alone. What if architect? How can you automate architect? How can we automate render? They have to use the same name. Then you can have all this automation. Now, what is it? Information. BIM is talking about information. BIM is not just talking about geometry. Geometry is less important. BIM is talking about information.喂，得唔得？大家明唔明我想表達嗰樣嘢？即係因為呢個世界上唔係得一隻 software， 好多隻 software， 大家係傾唔到偈。喺嗰個數據上面，喺個 information 嗰個領域上面咧，其實我哋需要有一個嘅 common 嘅 standard， 令到咧大家可以係溝通得到。Okay, so this is the show you. Let's see. All right. So the assistant director is here. The chief software engineer is here. They're all from BIM. Okay, so they're learning OpenBIM in here. They're learning how to convert now the system using BD, how to migrate to OpenBIM. They're married architect, nuclear architect, software engineer. This happened 2 weeks ago. And they are learning BIM and GIS integration. Now BD is on here. BIM and GIS integrate. And in fact, this is part of your technology side. GIS. So that's why. All right. Okay, now I just just a few words on this interoperability as a control. Common the architect Revit on this interoperability. Communicate. Okay. All right. Now let's go into the technology part. 14 of them. First one, very simple, internet and cloud. So you use cloud, right? What do you use cloud for? So how is it related to BIM? Saving to cloud, document saving to cloud. Which cloud? Okay, your company using AliCloud. Where is it? Okay, that's good. That's good. You're not using China AliCloud? Okay, what else? What else? Do you ask you guys? What about you guys? Cloud. Huh? Which one? Huh? Open space. Open space cloud. What is it? Yeah. Okay. Okay, fine. Okay, now, okay, a little bit technical on the on cloud. So do you know there are three types of cloud, three types of thing. Now, when we talk about cloud, okay, there's something called public cloud. There's something called private cloud. And there's something on premises. Okay, cloud, when you say is storage. So you store it, you store information in there. All right, now you have your Apple iCloud, you have Google Drive, you have OneDrive. These are cloud. You save a file in cloud. Yes, I know that. I know that. Cloud. Okay. What is public cloud? Public cloud is you can access it both from everywhere. You can access and it's not only for you. It's for whoever pay or not pay. As long as you register, then they store the information into a place. Okay, so you have the access, then you access public cloud. OneDrive, Google Drive, those are public cloud. Private cloud, I suspect your guys are private cloud. Is that right? No, you are public cloud. Alibaba is public cloud. Right? I don't know exactly what's your situation. Right? Now, you can imagine public cloud is some companies set up a data center. They set up a lot of computer rack, and then all the different projects can come there and store information there. So that data center is going to take care of the security, setup, maintenance, and so that's public cloud. Private cloud means they don't put it in data center. They put it into your building or your client's building. So the computer rack is sitting there. So it is the IT people who are going to maintain that. So there's a private cloud. So Alibaba may be put in, they have a data center somewhere. So I think that's also public cloud. Okay. On premises, it's actually you put a machine, you put it in physically on site a particular location physically. So nobody else outside can actually access to it. Now, when you have a project, your project may ask for you put the information in there, and whether you can put in public cloud or private cloud or on premises. Let me try to find you an example. Okay, now I got a tender. I think this is your project actually. This is a project that you guys are building at the moment. Now the hospital authority they just issued a tender. It's not yet closed. It's now still bidding for this. Now you guys are the contractor, and I work with the consultant team. All right. So you guys build on site at the moment. Now this is coming from the client, and they are bidding for the operations using BIM for the operation now. Okay, that means after you deliver your BIM, and then they will pick this up. Okay, now see what they want. They are going to develop a BIM system, and the system should support on-premises deployment. Now, they already said this on-premises. They specify it. So what does it mean, on-premises? Now, it's a multi-billion project, 300幾億嘅呢個 project. Okay, now after you guys construct it, and then they can't pick it on, and they need to save the information, they specify on premises. So you, as a BIM manager, what does it mean? That means anything wrong within 4 hours, you have to be there. Anything wrong with the system, 7 times 24. If you sign up an agreement, so within the level of service, if it's more stringent, within 2 hours, you need to be there. Or within 4 hours, or within 24 hours, depends on how you talk with them. So you need to physically there and fix the computer, the system there. You cannot do it online. So how much money you allow for it? For the next 10 years. They spent 2 years writing it and then maintain it for the next 9 years, 11 years. So it's a bidding at the moment. How much money you allow for a guy, not what a guy, a team going there within 4 hours maybe. 7 times 24, right? So 3 o'clock on Saturday midnight, something wrong, and then somebody you need to be there in 4 hours. Yeah. Now it has a huge implication. It's just one word. All right, on premises. So as a BIM manager, did you tell your boss how much money you should allow for? All right, so you need to understand what that really means. So public cloud. So you share with them. So public cloud you share with all others. Okay. Then, but the thing is, it is being accessible anywhere as long as via internet. Okay. It will be accessible anywhere through internet. You can go there and fix that. And also the thing is so it's cheap because it's shared. All right. So the security is done by data center, not being hacked or something, done by data center. Now, private cloud only within organization. You don't share with others. All right. So it may be accessible through internet. Yes, you can do it accessible through internet. Of course, via password. Okay. It's not cheap because the client maintain and maintain the system. So they need to have IT guys. They need to have all the support. All right. So the security done by owner. Now on premises, pretty much the same. However, it cannot be accessible. So the physical on site. So we store the information somewhere. So that is the different scenario. So public cloud, private cloud, or on premises. Now I'll give you an example. I worked with ASD, Architectural Service Department, about 7 years ago. 6 or 7 years ago. Now that was their first time to use cloud. They saved the BIM information on the cloud, but they don't feel secure